I'm starting my timer. And Leopoldo, you asked for this to bring a little sacredness to the night. I think everybody, to start this off, should hum. I hope that felt good. I liked it. I'm going to be reading from something I've been working on for a little while that I'm calling 24 Self-Portraits at 24. I'm now 25, so the self-portraits are done. They're kind of couched. The way it's set up is they're contained between two letters to either of my grandfathers, one of whom was Grandpa G to me, one of whom could have been if events in his life had gone a little differently. He changed his name for reasons that you might discover. And the idea is that it's kind of like I'm standing between two mirrors, and there's a bunch of me's and my history going off in either direction. Dear Grandpa G, each time I begin this letter anew, I am more afraid I will not be able to find the words. In the years since that UTI finally took you out, I have written infrequently, updating you on certain personal and world events and how I have felt about them. My journal is one place you survived that transition. Most recently, the pocket one I bought in Umawaka, spiral-bound with a warm-colored cover, red, orange, and yellow stitched horizontal stripes, like a river under the sunset. But that journal is so small, along with the words in it. I feel it between my toes and nails and where my teeth meet my gums. It is too small to communicate what I want you to know, which is myself. So I have painted these self-portraits for you in the hopes they will find a way to communicate what, with each additional syllable, I am failing to put into English for you. Self-portrait as a customer service rep. Maybe the sun will shine through the office window, a color wheel pushing back on a roller chair in the afternoon. I will walk through its splintered beams into a dream to inch by inch escape this ringing red sun-made box and its unsurprising contents. Little globes drained and dried. Don't tell the customer. I used to count the raisins before I ate them, on the path less taken, the median or the water under the bridge. According to Andrei Codrescu, art is the project of creating the unfamiliar, shocking and unsurveyable. As a poet, which is a kind of artist, I could ignore the phone, ringing, walk into a storm, out from under the bridge, turn my umbrella upside down, watch the ripples expand, call it a urinal for acid, don't tell the bosses. Rain in the end. The rising sun sets on the opposite side of the world. In the end, I'd prefer another land of the new rising sun, land of the old, rising sun, land of the many, rising suns, the many lands of the setting sun. Dear Grandpa G, a different version of myself might have called you that in a time where you didn't have to change your name. I'm writing to you from the new moon of my 99th season, from the dark evening before Father's Day in Tucson, Old Mexico, United States, 2023 years since the most famous Jew was born. That's a famous joke in our circles. And this evening I felt I was in my own version of it. sitting across from you and your 94 years at a hibachi restaurant on a Saturday night. I tried to tell it, but I'm no good with punchlines. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Self-portrait as waste. Skeleton burial, except the skeleton is in lotus, and most skeletons have flesh when they're buried. This one, with air growing from its soil-filled skull, plant been dead about 4 or 5 months and inches tall, grave in the graveyard of all graveyards, taking the hearse of all hearses there, with broccoli stalks and spoilt spinach to make a sage green stink on the way in the pickle green truck to the dump, where shattered rainbows of plastic duration melt and freeze and stink, not of death nor decay, but of an alien rhythm, long-term, non-circadian vision of which I have none, but I feel, for the trifle anyway, sent to its own purgatorio or dark enigma. Excuse me. Self-portrait as a dinosaur, luxury trap. Humans live with dinosaurs, domesticated and fattened ones with hormones and small pens. We eat the yellow of their menstrual cycles and breasts. All I've ever been able to do is walk through chestnut, treeless forests and try to fossilize moments in amber, memory so remaining oak and maple might never die, even if it means I grow roots with them. How have we come to need dinosaurs so desperately? If a meteor smashed into us, our dino nuggets would be burnt. Dear Grandpa G, let me begin again. I am writing rushed for the sake of this title. The sun travels a lower arc in the sky and another new moon encroaches. When it has filled itself, autumn will have arrived, my 25th and my 100th season. But right now, the sun is the reddest it will ever be, flattened into a fragment of the horizon, something only the changing of my small perspective reveals. Then it vanishes completely, leaving its stain on the sky the moon will clean. I cannot help the feeling I am lucid dreaming as that color wheel fades to deep over the ledge of the Western Ocean, that somehow I do not have enough size to exist. You were a large man, expanded like many things are by childhood in the images I keep of you, framed and remembered. Perhaps your memory of me is eroded by decomposition. I worry this is the case for my grandmothers, both buried before I knew enough to ask. It will not help that my letters to you have been confused into journal entries and spread out by all the time it takes to flip a page and keep writing, all the time it takes for light to bounce between mirrors. You might have gathered, but the purpose of these self-portraits is not just to clarify your mental image of me, but for my own sake. One portrait for each year up to this one, so I might see myself in the world with more clarity. Self-portrait in a refraction. It is 9:51 p.m. It is important to mark time when it flows widdershins. It feels like you haven't eaten dinner yet. You have some dumplings missing soy sauce on a plate below your gaze, fixed in clear glass. You are baked and recording your second dream of the latent eve, born of hope, pondering. how recently it has been hard to find silence. The microwave beeped so long ago. Beep, beep, beep. You have been too tired to listen or close your eyes. In fact, now the only sound in the apartment is your voice, visible in the depths of the window, blood pulsing in your ears, a memory deep in the stained glass night of confetti. Excuse me. A memory deep in the stained glass night of confetti all around and all around light. This is part of the letter. So there it was. What do you think? Self-portrait as a knot. K-N-O-T. I reach into the pocket of my pants and with my fingers I feel my headphones tangled. Per usual, the handiwork of the knot elves is evident even to the untrained. I unravel the cord before the music starts playing so the lyrics don't get jumbled. And the notes are clear as Louis's trumpet. My tongue won't get tied while I sing along. Oh, how Cat and Frog would love that. Cat would dance jazz in between my taste buds while Frog played a broken rhythm on the tied-up strings of an upright bass. In front of trees of green, on one knee I lean over to pull light blue and cloud white striped high tops onto my feet. I bring the laces behind my heel and the sky blue star twice, then loop them together. In the dark sacred night, galaxies throw lassos light years long at herds of moons. The ropes wink where the knot elves weave and twinkle where cat and frog pluck blues on the web. I spent my summer going down to the beach and observing the tide, inviting it to borrow my language to express itself. The tide sings a beautiful song. I don't know if I should translate it, but if I did, the title would be Pointing at the Morning Moon. Self-portrait under a night sky. Beneath a dark sky, lie where starlight arrives with your hand on your chest, feel the drummer rest. Pick a big word, music, breath, energy, sense, your pulse as the cosmic river flows. You will feel small, but know there are more cells to make your heart beat than stars in the dark sky you can see. Thank you, thank you. Let's see.
We're listening.
13 minutes on the timer. Grandpa G, maybe this is the more appropriate question in response to yours. Why do you want me to be a doctor or lawyer? Because of the spiritual and physical importance of healers in a community of people? Because of the spiritual and physical importance of justice? In my 100 seasons, we have rarely shared a community, mostly our family on Thanksgiving. Self-portrait in shattered glass. This one also deals with mirrors. There's a theme here. I have a memory of a reflection I stood in front of a circular mirror, and the light turned around and waved with my hand to greet me before indicating that I too should turn around to remind myself of something I tried to look over the shoulder of the me in the mirror, but it was smudged and unclear, so I reached out and rotated it with 4 hands, I hoped. Turning my reflection on its head might allow a clearer view, but the image of me stayed as I did. I leaned closer, but the hot steam of our breath fogged the glass and smelled like garlic. Still, it wanted me to turn, but I grew frustrated and touched it 3 times with each fist, and it shattered and cut my knuckles, and covered in my blood 1,000 scattered shards, still said in my voice, "Turn around." And now it seems wherever I go, I can see myself there on the beach, wildfire smoke approaching over the Salish Sea, hiding the mountains that usually mark the root and throat chakras of Cascadia. And between the 2 mirrors of my college dorm bathroom, my ancestors hanging like fruit along the infinite branches of the reflected light that punches through weed smoke in columns, through me in those same columns, revealing the energy pooling beneath my skin. Self-portrait in a cleansing ritual. It is cold out here. In the February evening breeze, my mouth tastes like ash and kelp on the way to pick up takeout, Bang Bar special rice noodles, and the half a chocolate truffle I just ate and wished on the streetlight's flickered flesh eyelid, the edible could clear my mind, or at least the sky, like it used to lift this little fire at the end of the joint. Fog lays thick over Cascadian firs, spruce and pine in winter, so common hair and bleeding heart might hang in glow. I heard a little love there for the Bang Bar special noodles. One of my go-tos. Maybe, Grandpa G, you are worried I will not be comfortable in this most comfortable of times and places. Trust me, old man, I know you have given me many great gifts. My skin and my name are big steps ahead in this time and place. I'll end on this one. Self-portrait as an angel or self-portrait riding a moose. In the Carolina Appalachians, staying under a friend's roof, there is a moose beneath me embroidered on a rug, and I am looking rugged, near 100 seasons, hung over and bent over the toilet from celebrating my lover's sister's wedding. Whatever physical block was present between gag and regurgitate undamned, and I'm not sure exactly what I drank last night, but mixed with potato chips, it came back gray. My friend comes in to check on me, and I am grateful to be loved, and they ask if I need anything, and I ask, is God? Heave. Ask, a bad poet? Heave. Asked, heaved. And they brought me water, and I sipped, and they left. And the sludge that came from me came a bit clearer. And after a bit, another friend came and asked, how are you? And I asked, is it the same question as is God a good poet? They set a cold towel on the bare skin of my neck and stood, said, only if you read intent in the words, and started out the door, or at least bias, and left. And heave, what came out of me was a bit clearer. And after I bit, I crawled through the door and another and into a bed, and a friend tucked me in and asked, "Is God even a poet?" And I fell asleep. And in front of me, 6 friends hovered on winged moose and asked me, "Who is your God?" And I heaved and trembled and could hardly stand on hands and knees, but drew myself up and said, "Me? I am a poet. I need to tell myself, maybe I tell stories too and ask, unanswerable, of those who created me." And there were no friends, no me, no toilet, no rug, just the moose, shed antlers spinning rapidly around them. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Leopoldo. Yeah, I'm always going to remember the farmer's market. um, we did a lot of things. We had a big sketch pad up where everybody could add a line to a poem, as they walked by. And we had like a 2-minute poem template that you could do, and a bunch. Yeah, it was fun. And there were a number of people who read as well. So it was a multifaceted feature. The first poems I'm going to read today are from my chapbook, Held Together with Tape and Glue, which was how I was feeling when I composed the poems. And many of them are actually, they're collages that were made from bits of other poems that I did actually physically tape together. Convalescence. A whole century passes in a single night. Embrace darkness, darling. Brain struggling during sleep, sweeps, bends, swoops trees aside. Trumpets blare announcement. Fair news foams on the sand. Everything happens in 5 minutes. Scenes undergo large and rapid changes. The optimist scans the scrub for helpful shadows. There is a chance we emerge convalesced. Zach, this is where our poem's Venn diagram, and it's the version of ourself thing that comes through on this one. Relined. Look at the world as if for the first time. Beside us, rivers, a sense of passage, to carry yourself into its next version. Or I'm wrong. All lines dissolve long before a few traditions quietly drift to a shadowy corner. Birds sing more complex melodies. Air brings salt to already salty face. You brought into this singular nebulous embrace patience to carry yourself into its next version. When will we fly? Not by chance. You sing with me to carry yourself into its next version. Now I'm going to read a couple of poems from her imaginary museum, which is actually my first chapbook, and both of these came out during the pandemic, which was not a celebratory time to, bring out new stuff. But both of these poems derive for me from my passion for a particular artist, Paula Modersohn-Becker, who for a time was extremely popular and then sort of faded away and nobody knew she existed, and her artworks wound up in the basements of museums and so forth, and she's beginning to have her works hauled out from those basements. And in her imaginary museum, a number of my poems are based on actual artworks, and one of these is, and the other one is based on an imaginary artwork by Paula. Self-portrait nude. The green backdrop is not a forest, not a wall decorated with paper, but color, such that she is never indoors or out, but forever of paint, forever smiling at you and herself. Around her undressed neck, she wears a string of yellow. The loop drapes her chest. She smiles at you, who, when she painted, was herself. But she did paint for you. She had so much to tell. And she actually did wear often an amber necklace. And this one was given me by my uncle, who got it in Russia a long time ago. Pregnant. This painting gives birth to baby paintings, not pretend or metaphoric births, litters of miniatures which tumble from the untidy backside of the canvas, where the artist stapled the edges of cloth to wood. Trained on the gravid frame, cameras splutter to uselessness, recording nothing of the repeating miracle. After each phone call from the night guards, the museum director purrs to opera on her car radio during her inbound commute. Oh, the institution's income is secure. At auction by Sotheby's, the miniatures will be gobbled up. The subject of the painting, no surprise, is the smiling, nude self-portrait by none other than Paula Modersohn-Becker, pregnant. For decades, art historian believed the opus among those destroyed by Nazis. In neglected museum storage, a persistent cataloger sorting through a clutch of small, unsigned pieces had discovered hovering above them in the shadows the object of fecundity. The complete simplicity, the simple completeness said it was Paula's. Her PM-B in the corner, surplus. The young cataloger performed her job, documented the crowd of little portraits of infants. Only when Paula's pregnant nude graced the gallery wall and the next births occurred did the cataloger attribute the nursery of tiny pictures to the workshop of Paula Modersohn-Becker. Had all these ideas come to Paula before the fatal embolism, which killed her days after her only daughter was born? In her notoriety, the cataloger graduates to curator, and the infant miniatures spread Paula's legacy around the globe, each child presenting her own humor, her own hues, yet so like her mother. This poem is in this anthology, which I think is a very beautiful book. It was put together by Rena Priest, our previous Washington State Poet Laureate, and some of you in this room, I imagine, are in here. One of the things about the readings for this book that was weird and fun for me was that when we were presenting the poems, we read in the order in which the poems appeared in the book. And mine is number 3. And so I ended up going first. I was like, okay, I'm leading this off whenever we were coming in front of crowds. So that was kind of fun. This is also based on a work of art, a painting by Alfredo Arriguin that I saw in the Museum of Northwest Art in La Conner. And it's called Suquamish Waters. Oh, and this book, by the way, I'm sorry, is I Sing the Salmon Home. And if you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend having a look. I think it's a lovely tome. Suquamish Waters. Above the Suquamish waters full of stars, where pelicans flap through a jeweled night, fingered waves froth. Fish, swifts, distant suns, all toss aloft, all spangly. How right the dotted sky of scales, of green and glow, orange and crimson, where orcas dance. Every people, everything gleams, crystalline, atomic, built of tiny other things we cannot often see. Well, the next batch of poems are what some I know called Kidnap Note Poems. They're all collages. Many of them are made from junk mail papers that were on my desk. There's a variety of stuff that I threw into them. I brought a lot of them with me tonight. If you want one, you can buy one. I'm selling the originals. But I have the third chapbook that Leopoldo talked about is Behind the Scenes at the Eternal Everyday, and it's only an electronic chapbook. You cannot get a paper version of it unless you print it for yourself. And I have a QR code for it. Get that if you'd like to get that one. This is the title poem. I'll read it first. Behind the Scenes at the Eternal Everyday. You paint your own needs for fresh resilience. You're working the next chapter to thrive in things primary, using your garden hands like security. Check the sacred door. Stay inside under a healing now that rewards making a better way to concord. Activate thriving during dark home islands in your crescent times. Across this red music, you show your support for global love. Go out on a limb for local art. Get the courage of small animals. You'll find there's a lot of imperative in them, and that is a feature of junk mail, which you probably know. I am learning to reply from my sanctuary, clasp ownership, recognize the warning fire, the difference between little and village. When, like an owl spirit, the worlds go free, the season permits. Beginnings defy the monolith. I know that is poetry. Notes will wander from the point, in witness whereof voices flash happy, happy expectations, and eyes bring in other senses to describe pastry. And that last bit, by the way, was an admonition by another poet of what I should be doing in my poem. I cut out her words, like bring in other senses to describe pastry. It's like, okay, I will do that. This one, Lenore, is on wrapping paper from a present that you gave me. Thank you. And I love the paper. Traveling the new current, dear boat, you rock. Most of all, you transform the craft for proven lyric strength to get things done from sea to shining sea. Wolves at your fingertips. I wonder about alpine ways, about predator explosion, about evolution, about the fifth quest to thank the land for the field and pass, for the trails and wolves, and home. Open the door to your dream, our house, no place. Watch for birds, bridges, change. Save, seeing, windows, milkweed. Give up thinking about comfort, waves of grain, the doorbell. Expect opening, perspective, blue horses. I'm also a big fan of Marc Chagall. I'm sorry, I'm saying the wrong name. Marc, excuse me. Blue horses. Find your peace of mind. Special thanks to music. Welcome back to respite. Blood flow, days of making, right here. Sing grand sunrise. Fly with a penguin over moon and sun to your lotus space. Dream, stargazer. Unlock your fire city by learning of the unimaginable bird. 'Tis the season for grandeur, speed through rose origins and improvise fusion. Don't forget, love starts a new sound. Reminder, live life on the lush, lush line. This is your ticket to save honeycomb. Remember your first chocolate music? Your Wonderland journeys and ocean tour? Make maps for Providence by returning. The top of my head celebrates your disembodied stories. Retreats as far as the coast city prompts goodwill across our home, your first vanishing arrangement. You march out into open peace. Do you need more? This one features a couple of pieces cut from my mother's 8th grade history notes. So does this one, which is my last. Friends, thank you so much for space to expand, for everything gripping, honest, raw. Your fine battles minted change to all strategies, to complete being at the head of all time. Thank you.
It's so nice to be back here again. So I started writing this poem last week, and it's not done, but I'm going to share with you the first section of it. It's currently called Roaring Twenties Redux, and this is the preamble. When the weather turns anxious, the bright cheek of autumn grayed, in a chartreuse lit lab or a gold strafed bureau, men construe a new world, intention trumping inattention, our pixelated folly. In the new millennium, crawling across the continuum, we recycle the roaring 20s with burlesque and bourbon. Auld Lang Syne, my friends, then. And I'll read the first section, which is entitled Plague. Vovorst duvan. I was skiing, old limbs to tree runs, bracing the Wyoming cold. Hadn't I seen a moose loose beneath the lift? Such good luck. A votre santé. A sniffle and a line dance in the cowboy bar at night. Forgive me, my love, we were silly. The tower clock warning, wringing its snow-covered hands. So cold, so cold. A white kimono fastening over our hearts. The blue-lipped kiss of the Yuki Ono on wintered earth. I slept in that month and the next, until the mackerel dragged the sea lions inland, until the lilacs flurried. I'd forgotten to rush out the door, forgotten the crush, as if the fortune teller had thrown the major arcana card, as if the white horse had thrown the skeleton. So much change in my pocket, but no one takes it anymore. We all know someone, we said. You or the other. Immune sounds like commune, but it's not the same. Nothing is, rien, which sounds like ruin. I had thought Paris, but no, plans, an entire map ruined. I had not thought death had undone so many, wrote Eliot, on a walk. The parade I joined twice daily, faces cloistered, bright eyes, following the river of death downstream. I waved to the bookseller, to another poet, Words churned beneath the lane of cars cruising Beach Drive. There is nowhere to go, and everywhere. Tutte e folie nel monde. Let's drink, chin chin. Something's always wrong, again and again and again. I spade my garden after the hyacinths die, drop in seeds that promise bees and butterflies. The carcass of winter turned over while I was sleeping, revealing a portal. Who would we greet there in our pajamas? You and you or the other. We mourn through a box at a box, while PBS gives nightly tribute to the dead, grief squared. Each day, the count. What are my odds? Singing Che si dogli il rispere from my balcony. Then summer surprised us with its wicked light, a joke poorly played, a barking dog at the gate. In the heat of the moment, I had thought to escape prayer, not my thing. Yet, as the months engrave their weary hours, as thousands become millions, become you and the others, as the world turned inward like an untethered eye, and then ruptures, my meditations become laments, then petitions, my piety, my hypocrisy. Thank you. And now, let's give it up for William.
Hi. Yeah, I'm William Hill. I'm on a marketing tour for, I have a website. I have a couple cards over here if anybody's interested. If not, they work good for lighting a wood stove. I have a website. It's Polymath Level 8, and I have a couple books on Amazon. One is the Big Book of Propaganda, which is about modern propaganda, and the other is a book of verse called Fix the Sky, which is what I'm going to be reading from now.
William, can you please turn the mic up a little bit
Oh,
towards you? Thank you.
is that better?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Busy downtown Seattle street. People walking, crowds flocking, teens talking, shoppers gawking, hawkers squawking, panhandlers stalking, musicians rocking, crazies mocking, prudes balking, neighbors knocking, buses blocking, car doors locking, couples docking, nothing shocking. Verse 4. The many founders praised indeed by all, for whom a truer justice was a dream, beside them African Americans, to whom the basic freedoms were denied. And still in faith among the common man, they joined the fight with farmers, privateers, and merchants, every face of liberty. Diverse in fate, they met the enemy, a leap in freedom's endless march. Then from the wreckage, learned and cautious men would raise the house of government that stood unbowed in rising storm, through gale and lightning's flash. The final grasp of monarchy became a standing hall of granite, speech, and law. Sonnet 3. Sonnet 3. Lucille, her golden shining tresses fall, with gray eyes searching in the common ties. The heart of reason, ever in the call for justice, cast in song above the skies. From youth she knew that she could not undo the lies financial interests ever speak, and she would not create the world anew, a couple hidden hours in the week. A scullery concealed in spray and steam, the modest work of bringing hope to be, as homeless sorrows move in broken dream, awaiting one sure meal with dignity. Lucille, her thoughts and actions keeping pace with all the beauty shining in her face. I'll try and be quick. This is a quick one. Stuffing a muffin. This morning when I woke from dreaming, I found my coffee cup a-steaming. The wife had fried a side of beef with bromo sauce for quick relief. The deli people asked of me if I would like to have some brie. I said before I'd eat that goo, the wineries of France would spew. At work, they asked me what I want and took me to a restaurant. They brought me salmon in a stack. I took a bite to be polite. They thought it was a shark attack. When supper time was here at last, I thought it best to break my fast with just a very light repast of whole coyote without the growl and fricassee of spotted owl. And then I hogged a tasty muffin, although the gut had started puffin'. I couldn't walk, I couldn't jump, and had to use the stomach pump. When that was done, I asked real nice for apple pie and scotch on ice. The cottage cheese was for my diet. The wife was nice enough to fry it. This is my last I'll do. Everywhere the evergreens. Rich green is climbing toward the evening sky while stars awake among the many splintered shadows. Mysteriously in the mist they disappear. Their echoes in a time gone by now bring a lasting harmony, sing 1,000 quiet notes, and weave their buoyant dances on the breeze. Living monuments are balancing the broken land. The spinning fragments on the flowing wind are bringing life to distant realms and covering the globe with sparkling airs, transforming yet the fume of climate change and cooling overheated nights and days. With blended song forever spoken from before all past or unknown acts, dark silver edges glimmer ever over and among the standing world, forever in the walk of life to be refreshed.
Right at my mouth. Okay, I'm Miriam Bassuk. I have two fairly short poems. The first one is my notebook. My notebook speaks in blank verse, harbors wrinkles, ripples, rhymes, fattens with time. Some mornings it lies fallow, other days it holds sparks, unearths tough memories, like the metal detectors used by early risers at the beach, who scour the sand for trinkets, hoping for diamonds or a fancy watch, when all they find are bottle caps and used condoms. It takes patience to be open to whatever treasures the morning light offers. I sit, sometimes patiently, other times not, waiting for word. This last one is why I am impatient for peace. Because we once were sisters, our mothers were best friends. I can still recall the swell of your hand in mine, because I miss that warmth. Though the sky darkens with soot and ash, and the rip of rocket fire sets my teeth on edge, because I want to sleep through the night, because the olive trees still flourish. Thank you. And the next reader is Jennifer.
All right. I will hand these out. Pass them around, please. I started painting animals when I went to the zoo, and I would sit and draw and do watercolors of animals. And it got me my first job with Joe McDonald, who was the owner at the time of the Ruins, which is a event place at the foot of Queen Anne. I did all the art there. And he was weird. He asked me, paint this horse. It's a paper mache horse as tall as a regular, 16 hands high, painted all over with flowers. And I said, well, okay.
he said, I'd like cartoon animals in the front. And so I made them all 30s political animals. And he liked those. Then he asked me to paint a dessert table of raccoons stealing chocolate. Sure, I can do it. And it's in my house now. But that's a long story. So that was when I started painting animals. And when you paint animals, you become them. At least I do. And I think I needed to hand this one out. And there's another one floating around that I need back. And thank you. I'm not the soul of organization. Okay, so I become animals when I paint them. Becoming a zebra. The woman waves her electric toothbrush, becomes a zebra, clops through the parlor to open the door with her big yellow teeth. Clattering down the front steps, the zebra stops briefly to eat all the weeds and add dung to the rose bush. Remember, I'm a gardener. Becoming a giraffe. Awake, she stretches her neck, doubles her legs, turns toenails to hooves, sorts liver spots into brown and white patterns, then saunters north to accept particular leaves offered by timid children. Becoming a lemur. I went one time to a refuge for endangered animals owned by the Bronx Zoo. It's one of the barrier islands in Georgia. And there were lemurs running underneath the live oaks. And the man said, who managed the place, he said one of the poor lemurs was unfortunately eaten, okay, by a crocodile. They have saltwater crocodiles up there too. Becoming a lemur, ringtail alert, erect, white and black, her tribe scatters beneath the live oaks of St. Catherine's Island. Beware of the salt marsh. A crocodile lives there. Lizard eyes in the tall reeds, hungry for lemurs. Becoming a baboon. She is angry, becomes a baboon, goes on a rampage, breaks windows, destroys tidy kitchens, climbs rooftops, and waggles her red butt at all strangers. The woman becomes a rabbit at the least provocation. Hawk threat, owl threat, man threat. She crouches, then scurries, or not, to her rabbit regret. Becoming a lioness. She growls to her mate, and the two lions pad through long rows of sunflowers, whose black centers scowl dark eyes in the dusk. She enters the carport, claws the Corvette, demolishes rakes, destroys the lawnmower, and knocks over trash cans. The pair leap to the roof, roar, and mate, then roll snarling together down to the deck, crashing through lawn chairs, splintering railings, pausing, panting, then loping off beneath shadowy hickories.
I would just like to say that I am really, really excited about being one of the featured poets for February. And February, we are meeting on Valentine's Day. And it's the 14th anniversary of C&P Coffee. Hello, the universe is talking to us. So since we're all too cheap and busy to make pies, I thought, wear something red, okay? Fashion designer Bill Blass said, when in doubt, wear red. Now, Miriam, you're already set out. Just wear that next month. I got the shoes. I got the hat. Okay. So this is for my friends Raven and Danielle. I was asked by Seattle Children's Hospital if I would do a charity thing for them. How the hell are you going to say no to that, right? And not have bad karma for the rest of your life. But it was great. And so I wrote this book in an hour, and I can read it in about 4 minutes, I think. And then the kids loved it. And so I found an illustrator online. And I loved her portfolio. Oh, God, it was amazing. So I hired her. What I didn't know was, and she asked me, there's a little girl, Lucy, what ethnicity, what race and stuff. I said, just kind of go with your instincts. So what I didn't know until 3 months after this was published is the reason Lucy has the blonde hair and the light blue dress is because the illustrator, Anna, was in Ukraine 3 months after the bombs had started to drop. The bombs were dropping as she's drawing these pictures. And as for becoming animals, I feel a little bit like Travis the Talking Dog. This is the title of this book is Travis the Talking Dog. Lucy is in the 3rd grade. One day, as she's walking home from school in her favorite blue dress, she sees a big dog hiding behind some bushes. When she makes eye contact, he hides his head even lower, closer to the grass. "Are you scared?" Lucy whispers. The big dog, an 80-pound German shepherd named Travis, peeks around a rose bush. Yes, he says softly. Wow, Lucy is so surprised. You can talk? You're a talking dog? Yes, he says. His eyes are brown and kind of sad. Lucy says, my brother told me never to talk to dogs because they bite. Travis shakes his head. A little slobber slips off his lower lip. I never bit anybody in my whole life. Yesterday, a boy threw a rock at me for no reason, and I didn't even bite him. Lucy stares down at the brick path for a moment, then looks in Travis's eyes. I'm sorry that happened, but not all kids throw rocks at dogs. What's your name? Travis, he says. Lucy smiles. My name is Lucy. Travis smiles too. You're nice, Travis says. I like you, and I believe not all kids throw rocks at dogs, but please tell your brother that not all dogs bite either. But what if he doesn't believe me, Lucy says. I mean, I never met a talking dog before. Whether he believes you or not doesn't matter as long as you believe. And if you want to pet me, I promise not to bite. Lucy walks towards the bushes. Travis meets her halfway. She pets him behind the ears and the neck and even kisses his cheek. I sure never met a dog like you before. I sure never met a girl like you either, Travis says, and once again he's slobbering. Lucy notices his teeth are very white. Do you brush your teeth? I'm a talking dog. What do you think? He grins again and shows all his sparkling white teeth. That's a dog grinning with really white teeth. My favorite picture of the book. Almost done. Well, says Lucy, I got to get going home. Travis nods. Will I ever see you again? Maybe tomorrow? Lucy asks. Travis looks up at the clouds and scratches his chin like he's thinking it over. I don't know, he says, "but it was wonderful to meet you." Then Travis walks in the opposite direction through the field with his tail wagging. At dinner that night, Lucy's big brother just laughs. His mom doesn't believe the story. Neither does her dad. But Lucy does. She knows what she saw. She knows what she heard. Travis is the sweetest dog ever, and every day Lucy looks for him when she walks to and from school, but she never sees Travis again. She never forgets about him either. Somehow, she knows that Travis is really happy just like she is. Sometimes she writes stories about him or even draws pictures of him talking. He often visits her dreams, too. Travis made Lucy understand that anything is possible, but to do what's truly possible, sometimes you have to believe in the impossible, in miracles. You have to believe that anything can happen if you try hard and believe in yourself. The day Lucy met Travis, the talking dog, was the best day of her whole life. She loved Travis. She would always love Travis. He proved that just one meeting with the right person can change everything forever, even if that person happens to be a talking dog named Travis. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. I'm going to do 2 poems here. I was in Honolulu about a year ago. Hadn't been there for a number of years, and as I often do, I asked the Uber driver, cab drivers, those guys, what's going on? What are the issues here? Da-da-da-da-da-da. And it was, wow, it was the congestion of traffic. It was high cost of living, and it was homelessness. And we can identify, of course, with these issues. Was there 2 days, beautiful day the first day, and very, very, very blustery, gray, rainy day the second day. I had to get to the airport, but I got up early and took a walk along Waikiki, which I always do, love to do that, and came back and made some notes, wrote this poem. There are no postcards of this Waikiki. There are no postcards of this Waikiki, spitting rain, blustering palms, sky splotched and troweled battleship gray. The long brigade of honeycomb hotels stands at bleak attention. There are no postcards of this Waikiki, diamond head twice the size of yesterday, sedentary surfers peppering pewter waves waiting for a break. I pull up my collar, pull down my cap. If I crank my pace, I might burn off last night's luau before we head to the airport. Over by the shuttered taco truck, a leathery surfer towels down, talking to the voice-carrying wind. So softly he speaks that I stop, watch him peel back the folds of a blue poncho opening on a gnarled man caved into his wheelchair. Spent the night out here, sir? Best get to a shelter. This is no day, no day. A woman scurries by in a bikini, clutching her postcard dreams. I leap a puddle and pass the darkened kiosks, the rain-slickened pickleball courts, the fortress-like army museum, the grand old banyan trees, the public restrooms, and turn back at the tent encampment. There are no postcards of this Waikiki. Someone who knew my dad. This is set in a different city, Seattle. Someone who knew my dad stopped me in the crosswalk at 5th and Union. A shriveled man, bundled and scarved against hissing November. I was late for my 2 o'clock, and hearing a gasp, looked back into startled gray eyes. Bill, by God! More and more these days, people who knew my dad confuse chronology. No, sir. Bill's son, Dad died 4 years ago. As the crossing light ticked down, the years reeled in the old man's eyes. I'd know you anywhere, Bill's son. Thanks, I said, and checked my watch. If I cut through the library and dashed down the escalator to 3rd Avenue, I might still make my 2 o'clock. I helped him to his side of the street, and we parted without sharing names. Nowadays, in unexpected mirrors and silver glass windows, I too gasp, knowing my father is near. Thank you.
Teardrops. The child danced with a doll in her hand. Be careful, if it breaks, you will cry. The doll broke, and the child cried. She was soothed with a new toy. Harsh hearts would let the teardrops fall. Rough boots trample lilies of the field. Careless of beauty, grown sans spin or toil, heartless infliction of hurt to a child. Regardless of race or ethnicity, children are promises of future talents. A gamin living precariously in Gaza City, fostered properly, could compose arias. The madding armies, Hamas and Israel, squander heedless the wealth of Palestine. The children are tossed into living hell. Their mothers tear up in perpetual rapine. Some teardrops are wiped away in secret for children blasted to smithereens in school. What happens to another parent is no concern to many a fool. Just one more. So, how many people know what a burqa is? A burqa. Yeah. All right. So when I was a child back in India, pretty much all the Muslim women wore burqas. Okay, so the poem is called Burqa. In Afghanistan, the ruling Taliban have restricted individual liberty. A beard shall adorn every man. Women beardless, draped must be. In public, a woman accompanied by a man must be. A lone woman needs must hire a hand to market vend. Women may not attend or teach at any university. Past 6th grade, girls may not school attend. Shrouded in a burqa, a bride is often just a child. To the heartless parents, she is a prize heifer to be sold. In a hunger-stalked land, one mouth less to feed. Their coin toss landed head upward. The bride price custom is prohibited in the Quran. The child in a new strange home is raped. Domestic rape is condoned by the Taliban. The adolescent endures the trauma of motherhood. The American Taliban banned abortion. They banned books, distorted history. Their blinkered followers defy the Constitution, deny election results, subvert our democracy.
Hi, I'm Sara Frei. I'm reading tomorrow at Solo Bar in Queen Anne. So if you like this and you want more, you are welcome to be there. I spent the first 5 months of last year living in Alabama. Do not recommend. In the South, roadkill is everywhere, and they do not remove it from the roads. It's disgusting. But I wrote this while I lived there. There's an armadillo decaying on the roadway, not mattering enough to be carried away and buried. Run over by a work truck going over the speed limit, bearing a thin blue line sticker, a driver who picks and chooses what laws matter, depending on his race and gender to keep him out of jail. Proclaiming safe communities matter while standing behind those that gun down innocent individuals for daring to exist with more natural melanin. Look both ways before crossing. Still might be demolished by oversized tires because red lights don't always apply here, left to decay on the roadway. Innocent until proven guilty in the eyes of the law, guilty for crossing the street or driving a vehicle or breathing in the eyes of those above the law, punished with a bullet to the head or a knee to the neck, not mattering enough to prosecute. To protect and serve, unless you're black, or lower class, or lacking a green card, or are an elementary student trapped in a classroom with an active shooter, good guys with guns will never save us. They are who some of us fear most. Not wanting to be left, decaying on the roadway, not mattering enough to be carried away and buried. Heavy tonight. This one is called Yevgeny Prigozhin is Dead. How is it that one person can hold so much power, so much control, but so much fear when they are only one person? So many people afraid to step out of line and do the right thing by going against only one person, because if that one person says the word, an act of rebellion will be squashed, planes forced from the sky, potential leaders murdered in secret. Those who back the word of one person may not agree with one person, but will thwart the efforts of those who publicly go against the one person to avoid being privately nixed from the regime. How many people does it take to go against one person? How many acts of rebellion? Or has the revolution already started in the hearts and minds of the many? They just haven't told one another their doubts beneath the fear of potential tyranny. Will the one person continue to hold all the power, all the control, with all the fear, because no one talks to one another if he is always listening? Next.
So I'm going to read from my recent book, which I have some copies there if anybody wants to get one. And I'm going to show you. Basically, it's a book in collaboration with a sculptor. His name is Brad Burkhart. We met in San Diego years and years ago. He lives in Northern California now. I live in Seattle. And we got together on this book. He basically sent me a bunch of pictures of his sculptures, and I chose ones to write a poem about. So there are 40 poems and 40 sculptures in this book. This poem is entitled Oneness. Surrender to oneness, the calling of Buddha, the knowledge of man. Float in redemptive waters, be released to starlit sky. Embrace prosperity reigned over the land, gift of peace, place of yes. And this is, whoa, sorry about that. This is the spread. Love goddess, filled with the inner glow of consciousness, embracing the truth of what is, you release slivers of hope, humanity's untold lessons, for all to embrace, ingest, share. You, the innate knowledge of woman, this is your time. Such glow comes only from inner peace. Such peace from following one's path. Such path, a means to heal all you come upon. Goddess of love. Thank you.
Potluck smorgasbord. A little of this, a little of that, and then we leave. Okay. Social life in Seattle. Morning communion. This morning, moving forward to receive communion, my left hand tentatively touching sides of pews, the thought came, someday I shall stand before him. You stand before me now, he said. Flock. Yesterday evening, after our weekly meeting, walking down the stairs with the group toward a statue of the crucified Christ. I envisioned our release like birds in the waning light. There's a unity to them, this band of individuals winging their way home in the evening, in the clear breath of evening, over salt marsh runs where cattails purr as one, moving in wind like strings of a grand piano viewed in arpeggio from above. Each has a gyroscope whirring from its chest, the stirring, moving thing animating wing beats, timing, exertions, animating flight. It's their souls holding bodies together from breastbones to tips of tiniest bones. Each has an engine propelling from its chest, sustaining them as they move as one in an ancestral direction, a path ordained by God. What are they? Individuals or flock? They are both. Flying is the way that they show it. To fly each day aware in the paradox is to fly within freedom. It's why we look up to see 1,000 starlings pinwheeling in their blackness above an oranged bay, while the green and gray ferry awaits loading below. It's why a couple thrills to hear the honk of wild geese approaching from behind, then overhead with reverberating wings to fly on into white distance, on toward mountains silent, calls receding gently on chill, thinning air. Singly and in groups, we marvel at the wonder, are lifted in the moment, feel our freedom in the flight. Today, after drinking from the holy cup, the priest asked that I be one with others who'd shared the cup. Seeing his upturned palms, it was then, as one, that we all rose up. The flight of the crow, the white blossoms falling down, fill the joyous heart. On expanding golf, golf legend Bobby Jones won the Grand Slam in 1930 and went on to co-design Augusta National Golf Club on the site of a beautiful nursery in Augusta, Georgia, that's now the home of the Masters. Let's expand the field for clergy. Call it the pastors. If played during Lent, make it the fasters. Clergy being fishers of men, why not one for fishermen? Dub it the casters. No leaving minors out when they can hit the blasters. Late for your tea time? Join the procrasters. Those not making the cut would be in the disasters. Golf, it's been said, has been too exclusive, so let's grow the field to be more inclusive. Add the pastors, fasters, casters, blasters, procrasters, and disasters, increasing the field of play on bunkers, greens, and fairway to bring in golf's new day, expanding the Masters.
Hi, thank you everyone for fitting me into this open mic as an excess reader. I really appreciate it. So my name is Alleliah Nuguid, and I am a traveling poet. 4 months ago, I quit my admin job at the University of Arizona and embarked on a road trip across the country to share poems from my first book, A Human Moon. Thank you. So my book centers on the themes of horror, identity, mythology, and being in relationship with others. You can buy it on the Dynamo Verlag website or from me for $15. So I'll share 2 poems from the book, and then I think I'll have time to share 1 short poem I wrote on the road. This first poem is called Barbie's Dream Home Invasion. I check the locks, chain link slid into position, deadbolt bolted, the shackle on my perfect ankle still rattling. Plastic turkey forever ready in the oven, waiting to be admired. But as I yearn my mitted hand toward it, I am compelled to turn again. The door ajar, my work undone. Wind hisses and snakes an invisible hand beneath my apron. I chain, bolt, shackle again, smooth my blonde locks. I nearly settle into my seat, and then the window, it gapes fully open. Inside dissolves into outside, and the essence of my signature scent, sugar cookies and gasoline, gets sucked into the night, beckoning a horde of hooligans. Though I am famed for my figure and composure, both crumble as I sink into the tile, my smile distended into silent sobs. Only from the floor can I see that my house is missing a wall. It was not damaged, but built this way by design. The table for two, the hot pink vanity, the gauzy canopy veiling my sleep, all of it belonging to everyone but me. Shackle, bolt, chain. Okay, this next poem, thank you. This next poem was written in memory of my grandmothers, both of whom passed in the year 2019. This poem is called Hibiscus Depths. My grandmother's dress washes up on the shore. Which shore? Not sure. I never saw her near water while she and I were at the same time alive. Yet coast wanes cleanly into sea, and gulls barrel through clouds, bellowing from the gutters of their throats. And there the floral garment sachets in on a wave. Water stains the flowers darker. Hibiscuses deepen from white to gray. The dress docks on the shoreline, vessel holding only itself. These footprints in the sand, are they mine? I forgot where I'm going, forgot where I've been. I always suspected I was born with the wrong feet, that or the right feet screwed into the wrong ankles, their gaits bearing them perennially apart. I call you mother in my mother's mother tongue. I call you into me, and you come in archipelago echo. I wear your dress. Hibiscus seeps in and patterns my skin with petals. The petals fall off. Wind's hands ferry them away, leaving me a shiver of stigma and stamen. I wear your dress. It dangles over your shoulder blades, your ankles, your angles. I wear your dress. I put on your wrists, and they silently twist. I wear your dress. I wear your fists. Okay, and this last poem I will share with you tonight. As I said, I wrote it on the road, and it is called Sad Cow Poem. After you left, I remained in the field, sorrow grown over with shadow. How now? Cooed the cow. I'm clarified as irrelevant, I replied. My hands are uncalloused, soft as soil. I sleep through the rooster's crow and daydream at the plow. We know now I don't belong. Oh no, she lowed, you belong. You're the last note of a song. We fell, the two of us, silent then, duet triumphant until its end. Thank you. Human Moon.